And we long and hard conversations late at night in how we want to do this and the best way to do it. And Joe kind of left it up to me. He said, "Meatball, you go ahead. You can handle it." So at work, at lunch, I probably ripped up. If you look in my garbage pail, I probably had about 14 to 16 sheets of paper. I would start. Okay, no good. Throw it away. So finally, on Thursday, I said, I'm done writing. We're gonna wing this. So kind of just bear with me. I guess anything that we say, anything that I say on behalf of Joe and Morgan and all of our racing family, is probably nothing you haven't already heard. But I think probably the best thing we can say to Cricket and to Natalie and Peyton and to Charlie and Linda, and I'm not sure if Curtis is here, Chad and Sheila, is that we all love you very, very much. And we're just a bunch of racers. But always know, before you lay your head down at night, that you can always call us the next morning. We don't have to say a word, we can just listen. And I know that you are surrounded with a wonderful family and support that talking to me, Goofy me and Goofy Joe, probably isn't going to help you a whole lot, but please know that we love you and we're always going to be there for you. So, with that being said, it is an honor, a privilege, and a pleasure to welcome Cricket and some of the Walters family and friends up here as we proudly announce as our 2014 Bedford Speedway Pearsall Point champion, ladies and gentlemen, Charlie Walter Jr.
Thank you so much. I'm Todd Bechtel. I've been building Charlie's engines for quite a few years, and I can tell you it's quite an honor to be asked to come up here and speak on behalf of Charlie and the whole Walter family. First thing I'd like to say is thank you to everyone out there on behalf of the Walter family for all the support, the prayers, the cards, the donations, everything you've all done for the Walter family. It's been overwhelming. It's been amazing. It's the way racers are. We're all family, and you sure all have stuck behind the Walter family, and you've been there to support them. And it's a great testament to the type of people that are in this room right now. So we really appreciate that on behalf of the Walter family. As far as Charlie's season goes, Charlie had a great racing season. Obviously, he's the champion. That's 4 times for Charlie. Charlie's 24 years old, 4 championships. That's pretty good. 27 feature wins at Bedford. He had other feature wins at other tracks. I believe that's a record for the Hobby Stock class at Bedford. And I'd venture to say, if you look at the wins that Charlie had at the age of 24, I think he's probably the leader in wins at Bedford at that age. I'm going to stick my neck out a little bit, but I'd say that's probably the case. But Charlie had a great racing year. He had 5 feature wins, 3 second-place finishes. If you add those together, that's a total of 8 out of 16 points races. So that's half the races that he won or finished second. Out of all the feature wins this year, there's one that stands out, and I know Charlie had told me this several times, that the fair race at the end of July was probably his best race of all time. He won the race. It was a great race. After it was over, he got called into the tech area, and And we proceeded there, and in fact, as I was walking down from the grandstands, Charlie was calling me on my cell phone, and he said, "Todd, are you here?" And of course I was there. In fact, I was about 10 feet away from him when he called me on the cell phone, and he said, "They want to take the engine apart." And I said, "Well, let's do it, that's fine." So we took the engine apart, and during the whole process we were having fun. Robert was there, and Charlie was helping, and we were having a good time taking this engine apart. And of course a nice crowd of people gathered around us, and a lot of well-wishers there, of course. But we got the engine apart. Everyone had a chance to look at it, and it ended up, they said, "Charlie, you're legal. Congratulations." And I got to tell you, that meant so much to Charlie Walters. That not only he won the fair race, which is the Daytona 500 of the Bedford Speedway, of course. That's the one you want to win. But to be checked over and found legal, that's what Charlie always wanted. That's the type of person that he was. He wanted to go out there and he wanted to race fair and square. He wanted to make sure all this stuff was legal. That's what he said to me when I built his engines. He said, "Build me a good engine, but I want a legal engine." And that's the way he's always raced, and that's the integrity that Charlie Walters had. And he always did it fair and square. And he was just a great individual. We sure are going to miss Charlie. And one of the things I wanted to, well, let me back up a second. After the fair race, hold off on that picture. After the fair race, the very next race after the fair didn't go as good as the fair race did. That very next race, Charlie was involved in a pretty hard wreck on the front stretch, and luckily no one was hurt, but Charlie's car was pretty well torn up. I think the front bumper was somewhere back close to the firewall, and he knew he wasn't going to be able to race that car, and he was worried about the points. And I think even before that night was over, several people came to Charlie and said, "Hey, if you need a car, here's one to use." And one of those was Pork Cell and Bill Replow. And Pork had a car, didn't have an engine, so the Walters and Pork and Bill, they got together, they took the engine out of Charlie's car, put it in Bill's car, and Charlie went out, and I think he ran 3 races in that car, kept his points total going. And I know if Charlie were standing here right now, I know he's here in spirit, but if he were standing here, he would certainly give a shout out to Pork Cell and Bill Replow for their help, not only with the car, but they were just great friends over the years, and I know Charlie really appreciated that. And then later on in the season, I think it was the last point race, Charlie was involved in another wreck, and this particular wreck involved rear end damage. I think it bent the frame rail over into the right rear tire, and that was during the heat race, so Charlie wasn't going to be able to make the feature. And it was getting a little close in points, I think, and he was a little worried about it. So Charlie's pit neighbors, Brad and Jeff Fight, they took the initiative. They converted their flatbed trailer into a frame machine, and they put the car up on the trailer, tied it down, they got a tow truck, and they pulled the frame back out away from the right rear tire, and Charlie was able to make the feature. And I think he finished 7th, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm sure Charlie would also want to thank Jeff and Brad. Those guys meant the world, and they do, to the whole Walters family. They're great pit neighbors, always there to support each other, and that's what racing's all about. So thanks, Jeff and Brad, for that. And Charlie had some sponsors. Of course, Hollidaysburg Auto Parts, Keystone Automotive, and Nuri, Osteo Corporation. They all supported Charlie over the years. Of course, he's got a great family, big crew. We got Robert, Tom, Chad, Charlie, all of them. They all stick together. They're a great family operation. I really admire what they do at the racetrack. And Walters Auto Wrecking, I think everyone here knows how much the Walters clan, the Walter Auto Wrecking clan, has donated to tracks over the years. Not just the Bedford Speedway, but Heston, Dog Hollow, Cove Valley Speedway. I think we need to give these people a good round of applause for all the support they've given to local racing over the years. I'm not done yet, Rick. I've learned from J.R. Kiefer, can you tell? So I wanted to share one of my favorite pictures of Charlie with everyone here. That photo was taken in 2008. It was taken by Jason Walls from WRT. he takes great pictures, by the way. And we're so fortunate to have somebody like Jason at the track. But Charlie had just won a race at Bedford. He was making a victory lap there in that picture. And if you take a look, you'll see Charlie's behind the same car that he ran this year. I think he's run that car almost forever. That was his favorite car.
He wouldn't get rid of it.
Wouldn't get rid of it. It's had, I don't know how many front clips, I don't know how many times it's had the frame straightened. It's really been Charlie's favorite car. But that's the quintessential Charlie Walters right there. That's how I remember Charlie. If you look, you might not be able to see in the back, but Charlie just won a race. He's got a couple passengers riding with him in the car. Charlie's looking straight ahead. He's got both hands on the wheels. And you can just see that little grin on his face. I mean, that was quintessential Charlie Walters. I mean, he never got excited. He was calm, cool, always. That's just the way he was. And that's part of what made him such a great race car driver. But you'll notice he's got a young man sitting in the back window, and I think that's either Josh or John, I'm not sure. But you'll notice another young boy there in the passenger side of the car holding the checkered flag. And like I said, Charlie was a champion. That's what the checkered flag means to me. But if you look in the eyes of that little boy right there, that's also what Charlie meant to me. Charlie was such a great example. And if you look in the eyes of that boy, you can only guess what he's thinking, but you know he's thinking, this is so cool. I'm riding a race car. After the race is over, this guy just won a race. I'm holding the checkered flag. We're making a lap around the track. Look at all these people. This is the greatest day of my life. And you know that's what he's thinking. And he's also thinking the guy behind the wheel of that car is Superman. I mean, that's his hero. And I can tell you that boy wanted to grow up to be just like Charlie. Everything Charlie did is what he tried to emulate. And that little boy that's sitting in that car is the same boy that's holding that sign right there. That's my son, Nick. And of course, Nick started driving go-karts at a young age. He's been racing now for a few years. He started in kindergarten, I believe. And he's won quite a few races, a couple championships. That's what Charlie did. Charlie started in go-karts. That same boy started driving a full-size car at a young age. In fact, he got a full-size car when he was about the time he was sitting in that car right there. He got a Mazda 626 that he learned to drive. Had a 5-speed manual transmission in it. And at the age of 8, he learned how to drive that car. The reason why he got that car is because Charlie Walters told Nick, if you ever want a car, you just tell me, I'll bring you a car out. And so one day Charlie showed up with the rollback, backed into my driveway, and dropped off this Mazda 626. And that's how he learned how to drive at the age of 8. All of his school teachers thought he was crazy when he would walk into school and say, I drove a car. And then Nick, all he ever wanted to do was drive a hobby stock, and that's all based on Charlie Walters. Nick got to make some laps in a hobby stock this year thanks to Kevin Smith, and of course Charlie, Brad Fight, Brian Lowry, Jesse Snyder. All you guys were there supporting Nick in his first laps on a hobby stock, and I really can't thank all of you enough. You've been a great influence on my son Nick, and nowadays it's hard to find good people out there to influence your kids, and I can tell you that there are a lot in this room that are good influences that I'm very proud of to be associated with my family and myself. So, we got to go out and we have to race in 2015, and it's going to seem a little strange not having that green number 42 out there making laps with the rest of us. I just can't quite wrap my mind around that concept just yet. But Charlie will be there in spirit with us. There's no doubt about that. He's going to be watching over us. And so let's go out in 2015 and let's race in honor of Charlie Walters, who is the best hobby stock driver in the history of the Bedford Speedway. So thank you very much. Brad, I think you got something to do. Brad and Jeff would like to give the Walters family a small present.
This is a picture that we wanted to get Jason to Photoshop it, but we finally got Brad in front of Charlie. But he didn't finish in front of him, I can tell you that. We was like a family. We parked beside each other in the pits, and our main goal when we got there was to have fun. And if one of us could get on the stage, that was great. but the main deal was to have fun, because we had a lot of fun in the pit. We aggravated a lot of people, and just between ourselves, you know, reminding each other, did you put the air in the tires or stuff like that, you know? There was a lot of fun there. Yeah, yeah. But anyways, what we want to give you is this is the Team Walter, Team Curry Dynamics, Team Fight, first and third points for the year.
Thank you very much.
Teal Baird from WRT